Hello, everyone. Welcome to today, Thursday, May 5th episode of the Daily Betslip. It is myself. It is Donnavan. We got some sports betting action to talk tonight, a jam-packed show. Unfortunately, no NBA tonight, though, Donnavan. What's going on? Why do the NBA playoffs take nights off, especially like the second round? Like, it makes no sense to me.
I don't know. They're resetting the schedule so that I guess everybody can get proper rest and everybody can get equal amount of rest because the Warriors Grizzlies series started they had 1 day of rest after the Grizzlies won, so it's kind of like a tight turnaround. So this is their makeup rest day for the start of game one. But it's very weird to not have any basketball on before the conference finals.
Yeah, that's strange. I don't think the NHL is going to do that. I know the first round there's no days off. We'll see the second round. But speaking about the NHL, we got a lot of NHL action tonight. 4 games, including our game of the night between the Pittsburgh Penguins and New York Rangers. Game 2 of their series. After game 1 went all the way into triple overtime. So we're going to talk about that. There's a poll up on Twitter, and I believe there will be one up on YouTube. Vote on it to let us know who you want us to bet on, and at the end of the show, we will bet on who you tell us to pick. Game of the night when I was on with Ben, which was I think Tuesday, was Jays Yankees. I was already on the Jays. Poll said Jays, it lost. The game of the night hit last night. I don't remember, but I remember Tuesdays did not. It was the Jays against the Yankees. What else do we got? We got bad beat of the day we're going to talk about, which was we'll get to that in a second. Best bets, baseball and NHL. I got 2 NHL picks. For the best bet section and Major League Baseball player prop for tonight. And then Donnavan, you got the reverse. You have 1 NHL pick, 2 MLB prop bets. Then we're going to talk a little NFL. It's never too early to talk NFL. NFL is a 365. How many days are in a year?
365?
Is it 363?
Yeah,
I was going to say that.
yeah.
I don't know how many days are in a year. 365. NFL is a 365-day long sport. Yikes. That's tough. And the draft just happened last week. We're going to talk a little NFL division futures, give out our best bets for that, as well as a couple dark horses. And then we're going to talk about the game of the night and then take a look at the poll. And then we're going to wrap things up for Thursday night. So jam-packed show. Donnavan, good to have you on. Good to have you here. Let's talk a little bad beat of the day first.
Let's do it.
Bad beat of the day. The one that we have found was yesterday's Pirates first 5 inning money line. The worst way, and I think we've already had a couple bad plays of the day, bad beats of the day, coming from the first 5 innings and it losing on an error. I think it was the Twins were involved in one. I forget which side it was last week. But pop fly, bottom of the 5th, 2 outs already. Pirates are up 2-1 against the Tigers, I believe it was. Pop fly, the catcher or the third baseman dropped it and then overthrew the third baseman. So 2 errors on the play. Not only 1 runner got in to score, but 2. So even if it was just 1, you would have pushed if you had Pirates first 5, but not 2 guys scored. So you didn't push. You went from winning the bet to losing the bet on a drop fly ball. So
that's tough. That's tough. I will say this. I would much rather lose on a first 5 innings bet than a full game, right? That if I lose, let me know early so I can just get on with my day and I can start to process it. I like the other day, we'll probably talk about this a little later, but that triple overtime game with Pittsburgh and New York in game 1, it's a triple overtime game. I think both of us were on the Rangers that day, and we're staying up. An extra 60 minutes of hockey were played. And at the end of the day, your bet loses. And that's just the worst because now you wasted money and time.
The worst feeling. Yeah, we are going to talk about that game in a little bit. But yeah, that might be the worst way to lose a bet is because it was almost 6 hours at that point. By the way, Donnavan, we did our video there last week or early this week on Monday, rookie versus the vet. Check that out if you haven't already picking a series. You've been watching some NHL playoffs because you were texting me during the Leafs game the other night.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm invested. I'm all here. I will say this. I think that I low-key think that playoff hockey, even first round playoff hockey has been very, very fun. And I think it's comparable to any other sport in terms of playoff like atmosphere. And so I'm having a great time. So I will be watching all of the games tonight, especially with no NBA. We're flipping through all 4 of the games tonight.
I just got an error come up on my screen saying I'm having connection issues, so I hope that my internet connection is not going to go out here. But if it does, let me know. We'll figure something out. But NHL playoff action, I think the NHL postseason is the most exciting of all postseasons. It's especially Game 7. Once we get into Game 7s, Game 7s are high intensity. So I'm looking forward to that. I guess we can jump right into our best bets here, Donnavan. If you are watching this show on Twitter, head over to YouTube, like and subscribe there. And if you have any comments, let us know in the chat. If you have any games you have questions about tonight, if you have any best bets that you have, drop them in the chat. There were some best bets that we got from Twitter from our viewers earlier today. We're going to go through those in a little bit. But first, we're going to go through our very own best bets. Actually, no, we're going to go Twitter responses first. Let's do Twitter first. And then we'll get into our own best bets. So the first one that we're going to bring up is a game that actually already completed, but I do want to talk about it because this is insane. Operation Fade Reds is in full swing. Brewers run line. The Brewers did just wrap up that game, beating the Reds 10-5. Over their last 21 games, the Reds are 1 win, 20 losses, and 19 of those 20 losses have come by at least 2 runs. So if you are just blindly betting Reds opponents on the run line, you are rich right now. And I thought about started doing it like 10 days ago, and I was like, I'm not no sense doing it now because as soon as I start getting on this trend, it's going to stop hitting. And then now here we are 10 days later, and it's still hitting today, and I still haven't jumped on it.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Let's make a pact. Let's do it together. Let's do it together.
Tomorrow, do they play tomorrow? If the Reds play tomorrow, we got to do it.
Yeah, we will.
Yes, they play it's going to be tough tomorrow though. They're playing the Pirates. They're playing the Pirates, so an almost equally bad team. But we said we're going to do it. Let's try tomorrow. We got to jump on this trend. It reminds me of the Blackhawks 2 or 3 years ago. The first period over hitting their games like 20 times in a row. And like when the trend was at like 9 times, I was like, yeah, this trend's not going to last. I'm not going to jump on it now. And then it hit like another 11 times straight. So I don't want to be part of that again. Let's take Pirates run line tomorrow. I'm
with you. We'll do it.
All right. Might actually.
Listen, if it fails, everybody, you guys can blame us and our jinx. However, if it hits, then that's how you know this is a real trend and everybody just keep doing it.
Yep. And if it's Pirates on the road, we might actually get plus money on it too. So that'll be nice because I assume now most teams the Reds will play. It's probably going to be like minus 130 to take the opponent's run line. So we'll see. That train is insane. Like I said, it was a Twitter pick that was given out to us earlier today. Game was already over, but I wanted to bring that up because it was just absolutely insane. And to credit to that person, I forget who it was. At champ_burn. Credit to you, my friend, because you rode the trend again today and it hit again today. Let's bring up the second pick. Now we're going to get picks for tonight. This one's from Keith20 at Rib Majors Penguins over 5.5. We're going to talk about this game a little bit later when we get to the game of the night, but I think Donnavan, me and you are both on a side, so I think we can talk a little bit about the total here for the game of the night before we dive into it a little bit deeper. But I see a lot of people on the over, and a lot of people are doing it. I've seen a few people are blindly doing it because, number one, it went over in the first game, and number two, Louis Domingue gets a start for the Penguins, who is their third-string goaltender. But he is, without a doubt, the best third-string goaltender in the NHL. He's much better than your average third-stringer. Career save percentage of .905. He kind of got screwed by early in the season. He's playing for the Coyotes, so he didn't get help in his early career. He has like a .953 save percentage in his 2 regular season starts for the Penguins this year. Don't disrespect Louis Domingue. And also don't forget the Rangers, and I wrote about this at BetSided earlier today. The Rangers were the top under team in the NHL this season, hitting at 59%, I think it was, the under hit in their games this year. And that was with the majority of games being at 5.5. So, I mean, and that's, which is generally a low total. So I'm not buying into the hype. I'm going to take the under as well as the side that I'm going to talk about later. I think it's the first game was a bit of an anomaly. Do you have any thoughts on the total in that game?
Listen at Ribman20. I'm gonna have to go on the opposite side because I'm with you. I think that what we have now with Domingue and Shesterkin is elite goaltending, and we have like a great goaltending matchup right now. So I listen. It's gonna be hard, and like you said, we'll talk about it later. But it's gonna be hard for a team to score 3-4 goals every single night on Shesterkin, and so I'm not 100% sold that 6 goals is where we want to go. That we're gonna just have this crazy back and forth action all series long. So I'm gonna take the under on that.
I agree, but good luck to you at Ribman20. Side note, Donnavan, I should have mentioned earlier, that's a fire shirt that you're wearing today. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, let's get to the next Twitter pick here. Avs first period total over 1.5 plus 160. That is by Eric Johnson at the Captain 15. I like that bet quite a bit, especially that price. We saw the Avs score, 7 goals in the first game against the Predators. Listen, the Predators' playoff hopes died when UC Saros got hurt late in the regular season. That was it for them because neither of their backup goaltenders are any good, both with sub-900 save percentages. And we saw that in game 1. And not only that, the Avalanche also had 45 shots in that game. So the Predators are already done, over 1.5 first period goals. And I think they scored 3 or 4 in game 1. Plus 160? If you're looking for a plus money bet, I don't know if you're going to find much better than that tonight.
Yeah, I really like that. I think I'm going to tell that one. I'm going to add that too. So at the Captain 15, thank you. Thank you. That's a nice pick.
Tail it.
Yep, we're adding it to the list.
Love it. And then let's get to the last one. I think it was teased there a couple seconds ago. At Devin Peel, Rays -40 with a little lock. I believe I did ask for locks only. So, all right, Devin, we will see about that. That is the Rays taking on the Mariners. I'm not going to tail that one only because I have a different bet for that game. I don't really necessarily want to double dip. And my play for that game we're going to get into a little bit later. But Rays taking on the Mariners. Mariners got off to a hot start to the season, a little bit slow as of late, though. I think they haven't scored a run, or at least they went on a stretch where they hadn't scored a run in 18 innings. So, and now they're taking on Shane McClanahan, who was my preseason pick to win the AL Cy Young. So, any thoughts on that one at all, Donnavan?
Honestly,
if you don't, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not convinced. I don't have a strong take on this matchup. It's still very early in the baseball season.
Rays on the road, obviously going east to west. If you're a believer in travel, especially with baseball, because it's not like other sports where you can show up to the city a few days in advance, like the NFL, and kind of rest up and get used to the time zone. Rays just played last night, so. But they did play in Oakland last night, so I guess they stay in the same time zone. But Rays -40, I don't hate it, Devin, but I have a different pick for that play that we're going to get into coming right up, because now those were the Twitter best bets for the day. Let's get into our own best bets for the day. Once again, if you're watching this on Twitter, head over to YouTube. Let us know if we missed any other best bets. Let us know in the chat, or if you have any questions for any of their games tonight. Let's get into picks for tonight. I will start with, I'm now realizing that the pick I said I was going to tail, plus 160 over 1.5 first period goals, completely contradicts my pick for the Predators Avalanche game. But I already said I'm going to tail it, so I'm going to tail it. My pick in that game is actually under 6.5. So let's get 2 goals in the first period, and then let's turn it into a little bit of a defensive battle. I completely contradicted myself there, but I think this line is a little bit of an overreaction. 6.5, and not only that, not only is it at a high number of 6.5, but we're getting plus 105 to go under. The over is hit at an insane rate for both teams over the last few weeks of the regular season, and I think that's why the total is all the way up at 6.5. But if you look at game 1, even though it was a high-scoring game, a little bit of an anomaly. Once again, I'm realizing I'm contradicting myself from earlier, but their combined expected goals for both teams in game 1 was just 5.71. So that's almost a full goal below the set total for this game. Also, Darcy Kemper for the Avalanche, one of the best goalies in the NHL, 920 save percentage. I mean, he only allowed 2 goals in the first game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he allows, 1 or even gets a shutout at some point this series. So I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, the high total. I'll take the under 6.5. I guess I'm on the over 1.5 first period. So let's get a 2-0 first period and then coast the rest of the way. That sounds good to me.
I like that. Here's what I do, right? So I'm gonna stay in the NHL, and I'll go on my best bet. So I'm gonna take the Panthers -1.5, -1.5 against the Capitals in Game 2, -105 odds. I think I was shocked. So I had the Panthers in Game 1. This is gonna happen. I think I had the Panthers in 5. I think that they can come through and still win the series in 5. But what we saw in Game 1, their defense just completely fell asleep at the wheel. Right? They give up 3 third period goals. They were up 2-1 before that. I think that Florida's offense has been very, very powerful all season long. I know that like crazy things happen, and so Washington, they've done their job already. They've gone on the road, they've stolen one. I don't see a scenario where Florida goes down 2-0. And so I think that the offense comes to life. They scored 2 goals in the first 2 periods. They're just gonna have to finish the job tonight. So I like the Panthers to come back, tie this series up, and do it dominantly against Washington, and make sure that they know that Florida's the top seed, and you're not gonna mess with them right now.
Yeah, Donnavan, I'm actually on you. We're on the same pick in this game. I'm not making this one of my picks for the show, but I am on Florida puck line. What is going on? Is there construction on my building or something? I'm trying not to overreact to Game 1. I think Florida played about as bad as they could possibly play in Game 1. It's the same thing with the Lightning and the Maple Leafs. I didn't overreact to Game 1. I knew that was the worst game the Lightning were going to play. And you can kind of prove it when you look at the numbers. Panthers only had 8 high-danger scoring chances in Game 1. They averaged 14.33 high-danger scoring chances per game in the regular season. And it's not like the Capitals are just like some top defensive team. So the Capitals did shut them down to their credit in Game 1. I don't expect the same in Game 2. I think Panthers are going to run away with it tonight. So I'm with you on that one. Panthers -1.5. I think that's the play to make.
We're here today.
Yes.
I like this. I like this energy. We're really we're locked in.
I agree. I gave out an under for the Predators Avalanche. I got another under for tonight, and that is in the Flames and Stars game, the final game of the night tonight. I was on the under in the first game, and I think I'm just going to take the under in every game between these two teams this series because boy, oh boy, do not watch this game. Do not watch any game involving the Flames and Stars unless you're a fan of either team or unless you don't have anything else to watch and you have money on it, because it is not an entertaining series. Both teams play an extremely defensive style of play. The first game was 1-0, and that wasn't because both goaltenders just played really well. The combined expected goals in the game was still only 2.9. That's combined expected goals. The Stars had 5 high danger scoring chances. The Flames only had 4. Like most teams will get like over 9 high danger scoring chances by themselves in a game. These two teams had a combined 9. Like they're both playing, especially the Stars. I put the blame more on the Stars than the Flames. They are already kind of a boring team to watch. They kind of play a version of what's called the trap, which is a very defensive style of play. And the Flames are trying not to get too aggressive and kind of fall into that. So because of that, it's a very boring series. If we see the same thing tonight that we saw in Game 1, this whole series is going to be low scoring. So I took the under in Game 1. I'll take the under again tonight. Under 5.5 Flames and Stars.
That's very solid. I did not watch game 1.
I likely will not watch any of Game 2 because Game 1 was a snooze fest. So.
I'm not watching Game 2. So I will wake up in the morning and see if this hit.
Beautiful. Hit me with your next best bet, Donnavan.
I got Jose Barrios over 4.5 strikeouts, -136. He's cleared this line in 3 of his last 4 starts. And one of the main reasons why I like this is because he's getting longer starts. He's going longer than 5 innings, right? He's starting to dip into 5 inning starts, 6 inning starts. And I really like the momentum that he has. The only game in the last 4 starts that he missed it by one strikeout, and that was against the Red Sox. He came back like a week later and cleared the line against the Red Sox. The Guardians, listen, they're one of the harder teams to strike out in the league. However, Barrios has gone up against like teams that have been harder to strike out, right? He's cleared this line against the Giants, and so I think that as long as he is on the mound for a decent amount of time, if he's not getting ran off in the first 3 innings, this is pretty good, and so I'm making this my best bet.
I like it, man. If you're watching this and you like strikeout props, and this is the show for you, this is the episode for you because we got them in bunches. Because now my next best bet is my Major League Baseball best bet for the day. I tweeted it out earlier today, and you can actually get better odds than what I tweeted if you go to WinBet. So my final best bet until we get to the game of the night is Shane McClanahan. Over 6.5 strikeouts. I talked about earlier, I believe it was Devin who gave his best bet in this game, and I said I wasn't tailing because I already had bet the game. And this is it. Over 6.5 strikeouts. It's at plus 120 at WinBet. And I don't see why you shouldn't place this bet. I don't get it. He surpasses total in all 5 of his starts so far this season. He's coming off a game where he got 11 strikeouts in only 5 innings. Like, why would you not take over 6.5 at plus 120? It does not make any sense to me whatsoever. Like, are the books just not adjusting to his hot start to the season? He actually leads all starters in Major League Baseball this year, averaging 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. And it's not like it's completely out of the blue. In his rookie season last year, he averaged 10.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. So this is a strikeout pitcher. I don't know why his total is only at 6.5 and you can get the over for plus 120. The Mariners, I think Justin Verlander pitched against them last night, and he only got 3 strikeouts, but they're kind of an average team when it comes to strikeout rate, 10th in Major League Baseball, so they are kind of in the upper third. But still, McClanahan has been on fire with his strikeouts this season. If you're looking for a plus money prop, I mean, I can't find a reason why you wouldn't take it. Now, I say that he's probably going to throw 4 and get yanked in the 3rd inning, but it seems like a gift. I don't know. Also, I'm a little bit biased. Shane McClanahan, I think I mentioned earlier, he's my preseason bet to win the AL Cy Young. Hot start. He's looking good so far, so we'll see. But I'm a little bit biased. I'm definitely a Shane McClanahan fan.
Okay. And so here's what I do, right? And you said it's a strikeout episode. I'm gonna go with the opposite pitcher in that matchup. I'm gonna go with Robbie Ray over 6.5 strikeouts. And so like your pick, you can get this at a better price than what I got at. I got it at minus 126. You go to WinBet right now, you can get it at plus 115. And so Ray, so look, Ray's he's kind of had a little up and down throughout the season. He's only cleared this line once, and that was in his last game. So I'm kind of riding the momentum here. But he's coming off his best game of the season. He had 8 strikeouts. 8 strikeouts, 5 innings, only 3 runs. And what I really like about this is 2 things. One, he hasn't allowed a home run in his last 3 starts, which is big, considering that he was giving up a lot of home runs. Had that disaster game against the White Sox where he gave up 3 homers. He's fixed that. And then secondly, the Rays, they can be caught for strikeouts. They're very, very close to the bottom third of the league in strikeouts per game. They are 18th in terms of 18th fewest, so they strike out at the 12th highest rate in the league. And so I'm very much backing Robbie Ray to keep up whatever he had in his last start. I think that him and McClanahan are going to have kind of a pitcher's duel tonight. And if you can get both of them at plus money, I think having them go head to head makes this matchup really, really fun. So I'm going to take the other side and the other pitcher, but we're both at plus money props in this matchup.
Yeah, I'll never go against a Robbie Ray prop. Obviously, former Jay last year, a Cy Young winner. I wish we could have kept him with the Blue Jays, but we kind of signed Kevin Gausman, and he's having a Cy Young type of year himself. So I'm just curious what the total is in that game, because that does seem like it's going to be a little bit of a pitcher's duel tonight. 6.5. Yeah. Yeah, I think WinBet thinks it's going to be a pitcher's duel too. 6.5 total in that game. I was going to say I'd like to take the under. I don't know if I can take the under in a 6.5 total though. That's low, very low. Yeah, I like it. There you go. So let's just quickly recap our best bets here. I'll just list mine off first, Donnavan, and you can go ahead. So my best bets are Predators Avalanche under 6.5 plus 105, Stars Flames under 5.5 at minus 110, Shane McClanahan over 6.5 strikeouts at plus 120.
All right. So I got Panthers minus 1.5 versus the Capitals minus 105. Jose Barrios over 4.5 strikeouts minus 136. And then Robbie Ray over 6.5 strikeouts plus 115 over at WinBet. And those are my three best bets of the day.
And the picks that were submitted by the reviewers were Rays minus 40, Rangers, Penguins over 5.5, and Avs first period team total over 1.5, which I'm tailing. And I guess I'm going to hope for a quick start and then a slow finish in the Avalanche game. Let's talk about this is kind of the part of the show where we change it up each episode. We talk about something different. Today's episode, we are going to talk a little division futures post NFL draft. We are each going to give one best bet. All these odds are available up at WinBet. We're going to give each one best bet each, and then we're going to give a little dark horse as well. So I guess I'll start. Let's do best bets first, and then we'll dive into the dark horses. So I'll start with my best bet for a division winner. I love the Chargers to win the AFC West plus 230. I know the Chargers are kind of like the sexy pick this year, but mainly this is a fade of the Chiefs. I don't know how confident I am in the Chiefs. I know they kind of drafted some defense at the start of the draft late in the first round. They got Sky Moore, receiver, in the second round, but they lost Tyreek Hill. And I think this is going to show how much did Tyreek Hill contribute to Patrick Mahomes, MVP level of seasons, for the past couple of years. Who does he have to throw to now? Like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I believe, is now on the Chiefs. I mean, obviously, he has Travis Kelce, he has Sky Moore, the rookie, but last year we did not see the same Chiefs team that we saw years past. I know they made it to the conference final, but still, especially defensively, they're one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Chargers only got better this offseason. Justin Herbert going into his third year. He's looked fantastic. He's looked like the real deal. They have a good receiving core. They shored up their defense a little bit. I like the Chargers to win the AFC West, which is going to be a stacked division. Also, don't believe in the Broncos. All of a sudden, people are jumping on the Broncos because they got Russell Wilson. I've said this before. Are we sure Russell Wilson's still an elite level quarterback? We're going to find out this year because we saw in like the past couple of years. Was he a product of the Seahawks' bad offensive scheme? That's possible. But Russell Wilson did not play well the past 2 years.
I'm so happy you said that. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you said that because I agree like to the fullest. I think that the Broncos are. I think that it's more likely that the Broncos end the season at like 8-9 rather than 12-5. I'm not that much of a believer in Denver, and it's weird. So I like the Chargers pick. I'm still going to pick the Chiefs to win the division, but I would have the Chargers at second. I think that they have the most value to win the AFC West, to third behind the Broncos to win the division. I think the Broncos are at like 220 or something like that. I can't get behind the Chargers because they always just seem to find a way to lose.
Yeah. They're the Falcons of the AFC.
Yeah, that's what they are. And then on the other side, like with Mahomes, I'm fully bought into like Mahomes, he's gonna push that GOAT conversation as far as possible. I'm a full believer in him. I think that this might be a situation where he gets better without Tyreek. A majority of the times, the mistakes that we've seen from Mahomes is him trying to do too much. Now that he doesn't have too much to work with, because it's going to be Travis Kelce, Sky Moore, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Now that he kind of just has like a regular roster, I think he's going to take a step back in terms of trying to make the superhero play, always trying to make the highlight play. We're just going to see Mahomes be a great quarterback. Like I still think that if you have him, then you are kind of lined up for automatically 10 wins.
Yep.
And so we'll see, right? Because obviously the whole thing last year was like, oh, we're just going to play too high and protect we're going to play too high. We're going to protect the deep ball. Let's see what happens when they actually start playing like real offense now, not just, 2-man beaters, 3-man beaters and stuff like that. So that's why I would take – I would still take the Chiefs, but I don't hate the Chargers pick in the AFC West.
Yeah, I won't argue much against that. That could certainly happen. I hope Peter Dewey's watching this, or maybe I hope he's not watching this, or he's not mad at me. But I would be more surprised if his Broncos win the AFC West than for them to finish last place. Which would be more surprising? Broncos win the division or come last place in the division?
A Broncos win in the division would be more surprising.
Agreed.
Because listen, don't sleep on the Raiders either. The Raiders passing offense is going to be crazy this year. When you have Carr, Renfro, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, their passing offense is going to be prolific, and it's going to be very, very hard to stop. So
yeah,
that AFC West is going to be crazy. I'm going to go to my best bet, and I think I'll say
this best bet is not biased whatsoever, is it?
I don't know. I may be drinking. I may be drinking I may be, I'm going with the Eagles to win the NFC East plus 220. Yeah, plus 225. I think I may still be riding the high from draft day, but we got Jordan Davis, who is a athletic freak, and he's gonna help, kind of restore that defensive line to a point where we can get pressure with just rushing 4. We have the absolute steal of the draft, getting Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. He's going to help the linebacking core. And then we ended the night getting a Pro Bowl receiver in A.J. Brown to go alongside Devonta Smith, who he had, 900 yards in his rookie season. So I think that offensively, the pieces are there. Defensively, we're going to get back to I'm saying a lot of we's here. Defensively, we're going to get back to our bread and butter, and that front 7 is going to be dominant again. And I think that the NFC East just lends itself to a lot of turnover. I'm never going to be confident in Dallas to win the NFC East unless they are like overwhelming with talent. I don't think that's the case this year. And the Eagles were in play to win the division late last year. They had a couple games against Dallas. They weren't able to capitalize against them. And then you start seeing that gap, widen. But I think that Philadelphia is finally going to start putting pieces together. You saw in the second half of last year, they really, really started to gel. They could run the ball on anybody. If they made some really good pickups in the draft on defense. I think that now having vertical threats with Smith and Brown, I'm not sure anybody in the East is going to beat them this year. So I'm going to take the Eagles to win the NFC East.
Yeah, I'll never believe in the Cowboys as long as Mike McCarthy's there. I think he's the worst coach in the NFL, and I think he cost them last season. He cost them in the playoffs, so I don't hate that bet. I was a believer. I bet on the Eagles a ton last year. I'm a believer in them. So, yeah, no arguments for me for that one.
Nice.
Unfortunately, as much as I like to argue and play devil's advocate. So let's switch over to dark horses now. You just kind of, let's be honest. The one thing I'll say, that was a little bit of a biased pick, but the pick
I genuinely think
a little bit.
Nah, no bias. Completely objective. I gave you all the numbers, and I told you exactly where I was at.
All right. Well, the pick I'm going to give for dark horse is the least biased pick I could possibly make because I'm turning off my Falcons fandom for this one. I might throw up when I actually say this because it is my least favorite team in the NFL, the team who the Falcons are rivals with the most. It's the New Orleans. I have to call them the Aints, even though I'm kind of betting on them here in this spot. But I just can't call them by their real name. The Aints to win the NFC South at plus 450. If Jameis can stay healthy, and I assume he's going to be their quarterback, maybe it's going to be Andy Dalton, but if they get in like half-decent quarterback play, I think they can win that division, especially at that price. I don't know what's going to go on with the Buccaneers. How into it's Tom Brady? Tom Brady at some point has to fall off with his level of play. I feel like I've been saying it for 10 years, but he's like, what? How old is he now? 45?
He's 45.
47?
He's going into age 45 season.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, by the time the season starts, he'll be 45. I hit it the first time. are we going to see in 5 years a 50-year-old dominating the NFL? Like, at some point, he has to fall off. I don't fully believe in the Buccaneers right now. They probably they deservedly should be the favorites, but I think they're too big of favorites. I think the Saints are the play. Saints still also have a very good defense. They are still a top 5 defense in the NFL last year, and I think they got off to a hot start too, if memory serves. It was just once Jameis Winston went down, they had no offense whatsoever. If Jameis can stay healthy with the Saints defense, Chris, who was their new receiver? They got Chris. I always mispronounce his last name.
Chris Olave.
Who I also drafted in my Dynasty Fantasy League rookie draft, as much as I know people love hearing about other people's fantasy teams. So I'll be rooting for him this year. I think the Saints plus 450. I think that's a decent bet if you're looking for a dark horse.
That's great. And you talk about recent signings. They just got the Honey Badger as well.
That's right.
Right. Yes. So their defense is even stronger. And if there's one team in the NFC South that continuously gives Tom Brady problems, it's the Saints, right? They go last year and they end up beating Tampa Bay on that Sunday night game where everybody just thought that the Bucs were going to run over New Orleans, and they figure out a way to create pressure on Tom Brady. They know exactly how to stop him, and I know Sean Payton's not there this year, but they still have the infrastructure and all these players who know exactly what to do to beat Brady. So I think that's a really good bet. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and to your point, what the Saints did, which really teams, I guess it's a little different because Sean Payton wasn't fired, he retired, but they hired within the system Dennis Allen, and I think that's usually a good move because then you just kind of keep the same environment. It's not changing things up too much for the players. They kind of know what to expect. I was going to say I'd like to see teams do that more often, but like I said, Sean Payton's a little bit of a different situation because he wasn't fired, he's retired. So a little different. But I'm not glad as a Falcons fan, but in terms of this bet, hiring someone within to kind of keep the same atmosphere and chemistry there is probably a good thing for them. So that was my dark horse bet. Donnavan, who do you have for a dark horse bet?
I'm going to go with the team who's picked first in the draft for the last 2 years. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are live to win the AFC South. I really do. And I told you this before we got on. For our dark horse, I was picking between two teams as my dark horse. The Jaguars were one, and the Detroit Lions were the other. But I'm going to stick with the Jaguars for this reason. I think that the AFC South is the worst division in football. I think that I don't think that there's a clear-cut fantastic team. I think the Colts can have a great season, but I don't think that they are a fantastic team. Tennessee, we talked all last year about just how much of frauds that they were, and now they don't have Julio Jones, they don't have AJ Brown. Derrick Henry is another year older, and Ryan Tannehill's only job is going to be to turn around and give him the ball, and we'll see how far that can take them. Houston's obviously trash, and then the Jags have picked first in the draft for the last 2 years. So it's a very wide open division. You get rid of just the worst coach in Urban Meyer, and even if right. Like, if you look at a team like the Lions, where last year they sucked, right? They go 3-13-1, but they played hard. The culture seems like they're going forward. Seems like they're going forward. That was not happening in Jacksonville. You bring in Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning coach. You go get help on the defensive end. Trevor Lawrence is now free from whatever foolishness Urban Meyer was doing and the foolishness that he tried to drag him into. In a wide open division, I think that you're going to be able to see the Jaguars put a couple wins together. And mind you, they had a lot of games that they were close in. They beat the Bills last year at home. I know that they didn't score a touchdown in that game, and it was 9-6, but they did it. And I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Tennessee. I'm not sold on Houston. Their main competition is going to be Indianapolis. Yes, I think that Matt Ryan is going to be good in Indy. There's
MVP.
There's also a lot of variance there, and I wouldn't be shocked if Indianapolis takes a step back. I wouldn't be shocked if Jonathan Taylor doesn't push 2,000 yards again. I wouldn't be shocked if the defense isn't fantastic. It's a bend don't break defense. Eventually, right? Unless you have Bill Belichick, doing your defense, eventually that defense is going to break. And so if everything comes together and the defense breaks and Jonathan Taylor isn't fantastic and Matt Ryan's arm is starting to look like an old man's arm, what do the Colts look like? And then that's where the Jaguars come in and sneak in and get the division. They don't have to win 12 games to get it. They can win this division at 9.
Okay.
And so that's why I would have them.
I'll say 2 points. I'll say 1 point in your favor, and that's odds makers kind of agree, considering Jacksonville has the first overall pick, but they're 5-1 compared to the Texans at 25-1 to win the division. So I also agree with you. Urban Meyer's gone, so they're probably going to be a better team this year than what they were last year. But the Colts are going to win like 13 games this year, and Matt Ryan is going to be an MVP candidate. So it's going to be top
5. He won't sniff top 5.
Colts had every single thing they had that they needed to go on a Super Bowl run last year, except for they had Carson Wentz, one of the worst quarterbacks in recent NFL history, starting under center for them.
And you should know as well as anybody that Super Bowl windows and good seasons go as fast as in the NFL, they go as fast as in any professional football league. And if the Colts could not strike last year, right? There is nothing to say that a quarterback who's changing teams for the first time in 12 years is going to come in and just dominate and be an MVP candidate.
All right, we'll see. We'll have to agree to disagree on that.
Top 5? You think Matt Ryan is finishing? Do you think Matt Ryan will be a finalist for MVP? Realistically,
I think late in the year he'll be on the odds list. He'll be in the top 5. Yes.
Okay, you're wrong, but okay.
Right,
I don't think he sniffs top 5.
People underestimate the performances he put on last year with literally zero help, and now he is playing behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And even when the Falcons were at their best, they had no offensive line, and now he gets to play behind the best. I saw comparisons. Yesterday, I think it was. Someone compared Matt Ryan to Peyton Manning in a Colts uniform. So watch out. Ben Heisler chimes in. I bet Phillip Rivers would win 66-1 to win MVP when he came to the Colts, thinking the same thing. Don't do it, Iain. Well, Phillip Rivers, no Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's leagues above Phillip Rivers, so, and you can probably get better odds than Matt Ryan too. So,
wait, are you saying just like Matt Ryan right now is better than what Phillip Rivers was at that time, or just like career wise, you're taking Matt over Phillip?
Both. I don't think it's an argument that Matt Ryan's career wise is better than Phillip Rivers. How many MVPs did Phillip Rivers win?
How many 28-3 leads did?
That doesn't define a quarterback. That wasn't on Matt Ryan. Also, Phillip Rivers got to play with arguably the greatest running back in NFL history for a portion of his career. So
I would put that on the franchise rather than just the aura of the Chargers. But I think that's a.
You think Phillip Rivers? We have to move on. We got to move on to the game of the night. But really quick, you think Phillip Rivers has had a better career than Matt Ryan?
Debatable.
You're such a Matt Ryan hater, man. I can't stand it.
Debatable.
Okay. We'll talk about this again some other time. Lots of time to talk NFL before the season. Let's get to the game of the night. Pittsburgh Penguins against the New York Rangers. We have a couple of best bets that we're gonna dive into here. But just generally, obviously, if you didn't watch the first game, went all the way to triple overtime. If Evgeny Malkin finally finished it off, and we hinted at this earlier in the show, Donnavan, we were both on the Rangers in game 1. I don't know if I've ever felt more defeated losing a bet in a game that didn't involve a team I'm cheering for, because I invested almost 6 hours in watching that game and then it just lost. And I felt so deflated. I was like, I just wasted 6 hours of my life.
Yeah, see, luckily for me, I was able to actually, no, I felt the same way because I was on the Warriors that night as well. And so I had the Rangers game on the laptop. They end up losing. Now I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna shut that off. Let's see the Warriors come in, clutch this out. They lost as well. So listen, it was a bad night for both of us. I understand. It
was tough. Yeah. So game 2 tonight. Louis Domingue now gets the start. We already mentioned this for the Penguins. Igor Shesterkin, of course, once again starts for the Rangers. But let's just dive into our picks here because this is kind of related. I'm actually going to go against what my pick was in game 1. I'm going to take the Penguins as underdogs in this one, plus 135. And the reason being, a couple of reasons. Number one, I just mentioned Igor Shesterkin. This is assumption by me, and I don't like making assumptions when I'm betting on sports. But a triple overtime loss was literally the worst case scenario for the Rangers in Game 1 because Igor Shesterkin had how many saves did he have? 85 saves.
I think it was 79.
83. I have in my notes here 83 shots or 83 saves.
No,
or was it 83 shots?
No, it's
83
shots.
You're right. 83 shots, 4 goals, 79 saves. You're right. 83 shots, 79 saves. My point is he played basically back-to-back games. He has to be tired heading into this game. I mean, I can speak from a little bit of experience. Obviously, I was never an NHL level goalie, but that was a position I played in hockey. So I at least know how tiring it is to play goaltender. It is an exhausting position. You are on the ice the entire game. You don't get to go sit down on the bench. Obviously, when the puck is at the other end, you can just kind of stand still, but you're still on your feet. You have to be ready. Not only is it physically exhausting, it's mentally exhausting because you have to be zoned in on what's happening. You can't, just let your thoughts go anywhere. You need to be focused on the game. He has to be tired at least a little bit heading into this game. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he is a professional athlete. He's the best goalie in the NHL. Maybe he can bounce back and have another strong performance, but 83 shots against in one night is unbelievable. So as good as he is, I have a little bit of concern about him. And if you just looked at how these two teams played, I know a lot of penalty calls went the Penguins' way, but they outplayed the Rangers. They had a Corsi percentage of 59.34% in Game 1. They had an expected goals per 60 minutes of 5.09. Like, if Shesterkin didn't stand on his head, the Penguins would have won 8-3. They played very well. I think they outplayed them. They're big, sizable underdogs in this spot. So I'm going to take the Penguins. Once again, Shesterkin has to be tired. Domingue was only in went in halfway through the second overtime period, so he's still going to be fresh. Shesterkin has to be tired, unless he's a robot, which is possible. Go ahead, Donnavan. Who's your pick?
I'm on the opposite side. I'm gonna stick with the Rangers and with Shesterkin, because as like the mantra says, big time players make big time plays, big time games, and I think that Shesterkin is a big time player, and he's gonna come in today and make all the plays that the Rangers need him to make. Obviously, it sucks to have somebody literally play 2 full games of hockey in one night, no break, and lose and have that kind of be in vain. But the reason that I took and we were talking earlier, the reason why I took the under and the reason why I still have the Rangers in the series is because of Shesterkin. I don't see the Penguins scoring 3 or 4 goals on him consistently every single night. And so if they're going to win, and listen, this still may happen tonight, but I think that Pittsburgh is going to have to win 2-1 to start winning consistently in this series. It's going to have to be a slower game for them. And I don't, even though that Domingue, he has a really good save percentage that, like you brought up, 0.95. I still think that New York's offense that was averaging over 3 goals a game in the regular season is going to be able to come through today, especially at home, tie up the series. And I think that moving forward, it's going to be hard to keep them down to 1 goal, 2 goals for another 3 games for Pittsburgh, even though that after this, they're going to go back home. So I think that tonight they tie it up. I think exact score, I would say I know.
Get an exact score prediction from you. I like it.
Yeah, exact score prediction. Rangers 3, Pittsburgh 1.
Ooh.
And that is what I'm rolling with.
All right. So, I mean, we agreed. We were seeing eye to eye for at least a portion of the show, but between the Colts and now the Rangers Penguins, we have now flipped and we are going against each other.
Hate to see it. We're doing so good.
we can't agree on everything. Let's take a look at the fan poll here for the community pick, because it was Rangers Penguins, and it was close. Once we got the YouTube votes, it came pretty close, but the Penguins are still a community pick. So I will be doubling my bet on them. I'm placing it right now. Obviously, in this case, Donnavan, you don't.
I'm not hedging.
You can't. Yeah, we're not going to make you follow the community pick, because then you're going to lose no matter what happens because of the VIG. So I have just I've just doubled up on the Penguins. You are sticking with the Rangers. It is me and the community against you, Donnavan. How does that make you feel?
I love it. I I thrive in these positions. I thrive under pressure. I want it. I want the animosity. Donnavan versus everybody.
I love it. We'll see how the game is. It's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, we'll see how Shesterkin responds after 79 saves on Tuesday night, which is I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine facing 83 shots in a single game. It's a nightmare. But that is our show. Just to wrap things up, head over to the YouTube channel and check out Jab Cross Hook after this. It was myself, Amy Kaplan, and Reed Wallach, our weekly UFC show for this weekend's card, which is a stacked UFC 274. We also had a special guest UFC fighter, Gabe Green, on last night, who talked about his recent victory from this past weekend. And of course, we made picks for this weekend's card. So check that out. If you haven't checked out Rookie versus Vet between me and Donnavan for the first round of the NHL playoffs, check that out. I think right now, too early to tell who has an early lead. Obviously, only half the teams have played 2 games.
I think you're up slightly because I think you're on the road to kind of have one series up because Boston is down 2-0.
Were you on Boston?
Yes, I was on Boston in 7. So right now it's looking that's looking kind of like the swing series.
Yeah.
But there's other ways. There's other ways that we can come back. So it's still great stuff though.
Lots of hockey left to be played in the NHL series. A series is never over. As a Leafs fan, I know that better than anyone. So check that out. And then Green on the Greens. Well, that's already started. The golf tournament started today. So I think there's construction going on inside my building. Corey Connors, I think, lost about 5 strokes putting today. He broke my heart once again. So I might be retired from betting on Corey Connors forever. But then, of course, Donnavan, I think you are back tomorrow for the Daily Betslip. I believe you and Reed tomorrow, I think.
Yes, sir. Me and Reed will be back talking
NBA, I assume.
Talking everything. Yeah, we're talking NBA. We're talking MLB, which kicks off tomorrow. There's going to be a little bit of hockey. We have a jam-packed show tomorrow as well. So listen, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, Daily Betslip. We got everybody covered.
And then, of course, Bet and Breakfast on the weekend, 11 a.m. Eastern, both Saturday and Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday. I believe it is myself and Peter, I think. And also a big thing that we get to talk with that I'm excited about this Sunday. Yes, it's me and Peter. This Sunday is the Miami Grand Prix. We're going to talk a little Formula One on Sunday. So get excited for that. From myself, from Donnavan, from the rest of the BetSided team, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe as always, and we'll see you next time. Good luck with your bets tonight.